And working through this Wednesday at midweek here, another day ahead of the crop reports from USDA. We talked to Todd Horwitz live from Chicago. He's at the edge of the trading floor at the CME Group. And Todd, as folks that may not be aware, you don't watch a lot of these numbers. It's more of the technical side of the market here. So looking at where the market sits right now technically, corn pretty flat here. They're not wanting to put any weather premium in this market right now.
You're looking at, again, we're looking at September corn, 370, should be an area, 370, I think is an area to buy. I think we're really hovering down near these lower ends, and I'd look to be a buyer in here. I think that we're going to see, again, I'm not, as you said, I'm not a fan of the reports. I don't really pay attention to them because the money will play ahead of the time, and I think that you get a much better feel by watching the flow of money into the market. That gives you a better direction of the real true supply and demand. And I think we're looking at levels that are lower and look for a possible pop here. And again, as you know, I'm looking for much higher corn prices by the end of the year.
By the end of the year. You said something this morning. You were with me, I guess, on the Commodity Wrap program on Rural Radio. It said something I want you to share with our audience now that maybe didn't hear that. That, Mark, if somebody gets a feel of what this reports may say on Friday, they're going to make a move on Thursday. Tomorrow could be an interesting day, and give us a little hint if there is anything.
Absolutely, Mark. What happens is because everybody's got a computer now, because there's so much information flowing before, a lot of the big commercials, they have already kind of tracked, and they're kind of making their own report forecast based on what they're going to see.
Yeah.
So they're going to jump in ahead of time looking to get that. And that's where you really want to watch the money flow and how it flows in, because that will give you a much better feel for what's really going to be the report's going to be like. And usually what happens is they're a little bit over-anticipated either way before, and then they come back the other way after the report's over a little bit.
So we're a penny lower in the corn trade. December there at 377, now down a half. Soybeans, interesting, the beans continue higher today while the corn's under pressure. Is that a weather premium or just a rebound?
I think soybeans are the one that I've been concerned about for quite a while. I think there's a big problem in soybeans. Now, again, if we can hold 9, which we did, the first attempt was great. We held, so that's fine. But I'm not going to be in love with beans until I get back over 950 and hold basis November. So until we get there, to me, there's no real excitement. This is more just churning trade back and forth and more speculating happening in this area, I think.
All right, and then we look at the wheat trade here. Todd Horwitz joining us. It's Bubba Trading. BubbaTrading.com is the website. Higher by a nickel in Chicago wheat now, near highs of the day.
Wheat has been, Mark, the strongest for about the last 10 months. I think it continues to do that. Again, we look for much higher wheat prices. I think that I'm still calling for in the middle 5s before this year's over. So I think you're going to see there is obviously some possible issues. But there's other things that are going to open up the window to allow more buyers to come in as well. So I think we look for higher prices. And here I wouldn't step in with new money to buy, but I'd certainly be looking to buy on a support level.
And 21 cents higher there in Minneapolis we just saw here. And $7 wheat, no big surprise. They were only about a dime away to start the day. And 7.03 on that July contract now.
Yeah, they look like they want to go higher, Mark. Again, there we have, a little bit more, probably a little squeeze, a little bit more weather-related there. But again, at the end of the day, they want to go higher. And you've seen that over the last few weeks, even when the others were trying to come down, wheat was still either holding or pushing higher anyway. So I think you look for that to continue. That's kind of following the money. The money is telling you it wants to go higher.
There you go. That's where you started the conversation. Follow the money, and you'll kind of follow the market here. Well, we'll see where the money is in the livestock trade here, Todd. Get you back in about a minute, and we'll check the cattle, feeder cattle, hog futures. Todd Horwitz, Bubba Trading, back with us after this. Coming up on 10 minutes for the top of the hour, back to Chicago and back to Todd Horwitz from Bubba Trading. By the way, this portion brought to you by our good friends at Agri-Liquid, St. John's, Michigan. Todd, they love you too.
That's my buddies. I got to get to St. John's, Michigan this summer and go say hello.
Yeah, I think you should. They'd love to have you. And anyone, by the way, viewing or listening, if you're in St. John's, Michigan, very near East Lansing, they'd love to have visitors up there at their research station. All right, looking at the live cattle, feeder cattle trade here. You talked about following the money in the grain complex. Money is certainly leaving at least the trade lower here in the cattle complex here the last 24 hours.
They look pretty flat today, though, Mark. I know they've been both sides have unchanged. They were down heavier and they came back. I didn't like, as you know, I didn't like Monday's action, which actually really led to Tuesday's action. I think we're going to test the recent lows, not dramatically lower, but we're just like the 113 in the fat cattle and 138, 139 in the feeders, maybe 135. I think we're going to head down there. But again, I'm looking for spots to buy now. I'm no longer interested in being a seller here. I'm interested in finding spots because I do believe that there's going to be a better summer coming and a better, start of the year. So I'm looking for higher prices to work forward. Now, I think we've had some real confusion and some real arm twisting here with some squeezes going on. And I think that's going to resolve itself. And I think we can get back to actually normal markets. And I think we'll start to see a nice steady flow higher.
Very good. And how does that continue, if not, in the hog trade, in the pork complex?
As I continue to look, I look in amazement at what's going on in the hog markets. The July has been like totally on a well by its own. And if you take a look at the two, 6 weeks ago, July and August were the same price. Now they're $6 apart. Yeah. I think that indicates to me there's a problem. And again, there's a little more of that kind of squeeze action going on here. I think you look for lower prices here. But again, we can pull back to some reasonable support levels. I'd like to be a buyer there as well.
Yeah, but longer term, you are friendly. Beef and pork trade, through the end of the year and into 2018.
I'm very friendly to the ag space for an extended period of time here. If everything happens the way I think it's going to happen with the outside markets and with the dollar and everything else, I think that I'm going to be very friendly. Now, right now, it's all working in our favor for a change. So now we need to get the prices to work in our favor. And then after that, I think we'll be in good shape and we'll see how the rest trades out. But it will depend on a lot of things that are outside the actual markets here. But again, I think everything looks good so far.
Very good. Todd, thanks as always. Always good to visit. Appreciate that. Hopefully helpful information, buying or selling, whatever our viewers and listeners are doing. That's helpful information. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
BubbaTrading.com, by the way, is the website. All right, he's promising the numbers here, especially those of you tuning in on Rural Radio. Live cattle futures, he mentioned a little flatter here today. June still on the board for a couple of more days. August, the trade here now down 24 at 114.78. October down 28 at 112.5. Feeder cattle trade lower as well. August down 86, 144.02, just above 144. September down 80 points, 143.80. And then the hog futures starting a little bit weaker for deferred contracts. Now the July, August, and October is unchanged, but they're higher. July up 17, now up 20. Live quotes, that's why we see it and hear it first on Market Day Report. 86.68. August lean hogs up 35, 78.90. Have the quarterly hog and pig report tomorrow, Janet, and the early guesses estimates are we'll have about 3.5% more hogs, total hogs, than we had a year ago.
All right, good information to have. Thank you very much.